Recording live from the Northeast Georgia Business RadioX studio. This is Northeast Georgia Business Radio. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back again to Northeast Georgia Business Radio. I'm your host, Tom Sheldon, and we are at the beautiful Empower College and Career Center of Jackson County on another beautiful spring day in Georgia. I have with me an amazing guest. Yes, I know all my guests are amazing because, well, they are. I have with me Mr. Randy Winfield of Winfield Realty Group. Randy, how in the world are you, sir?
I'm doing great. It's a great day to be here.
Isn't it? Every day's a good day. Randy, first and foremost, full disclosure, you are a good friend of the show.
Known you guys for a long time, and I'm honored to know you and privileged to be here.
And you were fighting for this radio, for this podcast studio from the very beginning.
Absolutely. We talked, as you know, numerous times about trying to find the
You were
the
working
spot.
with me.
That's
For
right.
me. For me.
Absolutely.
You're a class guy, Randy Winfield. I tell my wife every day, maybe not every day, almost every day it counts, that when I grow up, I want to be Randy Winfield.
Well,
There you go. No pressure.
you know, I think you might want to set your aspirations a little higher.
I don't know. I don't know about that. So tell me, man, how long have you been a realtor?
I have been a realtor going on 21 years.
21 years. That's a long time to do anything.
Yes, it is.
You've seen some highs and lows, man.
I have seen the market highs and lows a couple of times.
2008, 2009,
It was brutal,
miserable.
miserable. 5 years. We thought it was all going to be maybe a year or two.
No.
5 years.
And then finally things came back around.
Came back around, and you know, you see little dips here and there, and now, you know, the market's been super strong, but
Right.
you know, a lot of people are talking about where the market's heading. So we'll find out.
Yeah, well, I guess we will one way or another. Because a year ago it was like rip your face off moving. It was insane.
It was nuts.
It was nuts.
You're getting, you know, blind offers. You're getting 20 to 30 offers per house,
Wow.
all over asking price.
And you were getting those within 24 hours
Yes,
of listing something.
absolutely. Sometimes, like within hours.
A couple hours. Man, it was crazy.
It
Careful
was-
what you wish for.
It was a lot to juggle.
I bet it was. And now, but how is the market now? It's definitely quieted down. It had to.
Yeah, it went from that like rapid boil where it was just way overheated to kind of more of a normal market. It's still busy, still a lot of good activity, but it's more of a normal market, what I'll say now.
But you are selling houses.
Absolutely. And one of the houses we just listed last week just came in with a couple different offers, went under contract for over asking price. So we're seeing that. It's about 23% of the market right now are getting multiple offers on those properties.
That's great.
Yep.
Did you say above asking?
Above asking price.
You're still getting some of that.
Some of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's not universal, but, you know, it's for the right house in the right area.
Location.
It's all location.
Now, we're here, obviously, our studio here is in Jackson County, the city of Jefferson. What's going on in Jackson County? What's going on up here?
Jackson County is one of the fastest growing counties in the nation.
Whether we like it or not.
Yeah, and with it comes good and
Oh, yes.
maybe not in some people's mind. But Jackson County is the place to be. It is growing. It is just the place that people want to be. The people are moving here, and there's really nothing stopping them.
Very little. Now, okay, that brings up another question I got to ask you. How is the supply? Are houses, are they building? Are builders building? Not necessarily in Jackson County, but definitely in Jackson County.
In general, yes, the builders are building.
So we are building.
They continue to build, and they are unable to keep up with demand. Right now, there's some statistics out saying that if the builders built 50% more houses, it would take 5 years. This is a national statistic.
Sure.
About 5 years for them to catch up just to demand.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's that out of whack.
Well, what happened in 2008, as you brought up,
Right.
the market crashed.
Oh, yeah.
Builders withdrew hugely in terms
Many
of
lost a
building.
lot.
They went bankrupt.
Yeah.
They got out of the business.
They left town.
They pulled up stakes.
Yeah.
So it took a while before they felt comfortable building again.
So they're trying hard not to make that same mistake.
That's correct.
You got to respect them for that.
Absolutely, it's a lot at risk. People think, oh, the builders are making a killing. Well, yeah, but during those bad times, they lost millions.
They lost a killing.
Yeah.
No, they really did. Well, no, that makes sense. In Jackson County, they're building, right?
Jackson County is building. The inventory is low.
But inventory is still low.
Inventory is still low. A balanced market, somewhere 5 to 6 months. Right now, on a national basis and somewhat locally, about 3 months. Jackson County is a little less than that.
Now, are you seeing a big influx of people from out of state?
From everywhere. Out of state, people moving from other counties here. And the big behemoth Gwinnett, right below Jackson.
The G word.
The G word.
Yeah.
They're moving here.
People want to come to Jackson County.
And they're wanting to live, in an area that's a little more rural, a little more laid back, a little more just relaxed.
Relaxed. Hey, I'm guilty. I moved here 24 years ago.
And you love it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What's not to love?
Well, the nice thing about the city of Jefferson, it's even to this day, 24 years later, it reminds me of the small town I grew up in, which is no longer a small town.
Right. A lot of people are yearning for that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think there's it may be unconscious, but there's a safety. It may be artificial, but it's a feeling of safety. It may not be real at all, but it feels that way. You're comfortable. If you're comfortable, you're safe. You're safe, you're comfortable. That's where you want to be.
And that perception is your reality. So
Perception is reality in my world, anyway.
absolutely. And people feel comfortable out here. It's a very welcoming area. It's a great area to call home.
Yeah, yeah. It's a nice place to go home to. All right, enough about that. I praise Jackson County and City of Jefferson all the time. There'll be plenty more in the future. I got to know about the man, Randy Winfield. I got to know about the man. You've been doing this for 21 years. What did you do before you were a real estate agent?
Well, interestingly enough,
Do we want to bring that up?
no, absolutely. It's
Okay.
all part of what got me here. I was in corporate America,
Right.
worked with a Fortune 100 company,
Wow.
and was in sales management, that type of stuff. And on the side, I was selling my property.
Okay.
And I sold one of my houses by writing a contract on carbon paper on a coffee room table.
I hear you.
Got the house sold, took it to the attorney. We got it closed. After closing, he pulls me aside and says, "Hey, who wrote this contract?" I said, "I did." He said, "This is better than most real estate agents."
Nice.
So that was back in the mid-'80s.
Right.
And so that kind of always stood with me in the back of my mind about, hey, this is something I might want to do one day, and never really thought about it. Got downsized. .com crash hit. 2001 had 150,000 people lose their jobs. After 13 rounds of cuts, finally got me.
Wow.
Out the door. I did outplacement, counseling, advisement. Where should I go? What should I do? It all led to contracts, sales, negotiating, marketing, management, and real estate. So I jumped in and never looked back, and
Nice.
that was it.
Nice. Now, I've known you for a little while. One of the things that you concentrate on, and I'm not blowing smoke. Hey, it's my show. I don't have to, right?
Right.
You build relationships as good as anyone I know, and I mean that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I like to think I do that, but then again, I get brownie points. I cash them in sometimes as fast as I get them. Building relationships. Randy, there are thousands of realtors.
Absolutely.
I'm probably underestimating that. Okay? You've got to set yourself apart from all the others.
You do.
And you do, but you build the relationships to do it.
It's key because I tell people that, first of all, you've got to know somebody. Once you know them, you've got to be able to like them to do business with them.
Absolutely.
But then you've got to be able to trust them. If you don't know them, you don't like them, and you don't trust them, you're not going to do business with them.
That's right.
So that's the premise which I build upon. It's like, I'm not coming in for a quick kill. I'm not just trying to hand out business cards and let everybody know who I am. I'm trying to build that relationship, and in a genuine way, not just for the end goal of getting business. I want to know somebody. I want to learn about them,
Right.
who they are, what they do, just who they are as a person. From there, maybe there's an opportunity, and if it does come about, great. But if it doesn't, I've gained a friend.
Right. No, that's true. That's true. Your sphere of influence.
Absolutely. It's huge.
Yeah. And I think oftentimes the word network, we build our network. It doesn't always have to be business. Who gives us money or who we hand money to.
No, not at all, because, you never know that relationship where that's going to come in play down the road. Whether that's an opportunity for you to help them, that's an opportunity for them to help you. It's an opportunity for something that you never know what's going to come down the road. And I can tell you story after story of people that 30 years comes around, they come back and they said, "Hey, do you remember this situation?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Wow, I don't even believe you. I don't know how you."
It was important to them.
It was important to them,
and that's what mattered.
That's right.
Now, I hear that other agents actually may sort of kind of ask you to actually sell property of their own, of theirs.
Yes, it's happened 4 times in my career where other agents who were licensed, active agents, came to me and said, "Will you help me sell my property?" And I'm like, "Okay, what's the catch?" And they're like, "We want you because we know we can trust you to take care of us."
That's the whole word. That's the key. You built the relationship. They trust you, and they know you. They like you. You got it going on, old man, I tell you.
Yep, and
I hear you.
I'm trying.
I hear you. I hear you. I told everybody you're a friend of the show, and what Randy Winfield says, folks, is gold. I'll throw that out there right now.
You're a good man.
No. Y'all don't know me that well. No, I'm good. I'm a good podcast host. We'll stick with that. Hey, I'm going to jump around, folks. That's what we do. We got to keep it interesting. Your bio, the guest information sheet, you mentioned home market value, appraisal value, and insured value. Elaborate a little bit on that. Market value of a home, the appraisal value, and then there's an insured value. Do all three of those aren't the same number?
Generally not. Here's what happens.
Really?
So, the market value might be X for a particular house. Somebody comes in and offers that.
Right.
Well, they're willing to pay so much to get that house, particularly in this superheated market where they were paying way over asking price.
It's worth what someone will pay for it.
Right.
Right. Or not worth what.
Or not.
Right.
Then you have the appraiser come in. Well, the appraiser has a totally different opinion. He's not emotional. He's not involved in the transaction other than just to look at the numbers. So that you might be willing to pay, let's say, $50,000 more for a particular property.
Right.
Than what the asking price is. But the appraiser might come in and say, "Hey, it's only worth what it was on the market for," or maybe $5,000 more.
Leeway here and there. Yeah.
A little bit of leeway.
Yeah.
Sometimes the appraiser will try to get to that value if they think it's reasonable. If not, they might not get there. Well, then there's insured value. So somebody will come in, they'll say, "Well, I paid $500 for a particular house," and they get their home insured for what it was on the market for, or maybe what they paid for it. But in a few years, maybe they don't have enough coverage. Something happens catastrophic to their house, and it burns down.
Worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario.
By far, yeah.
Had a friend this happen to his house. It cost more than double the value of the house to tear it apart, rebuild it, and build it back.
Wow.
And if you don't have your insured value at the right value, if you just put it what you paid for it, and don't have replacement cost coverage and escalators in there to cover that, you get caught. And a lot of people don't realize that, so it's really important.
I'm not asking you to give insurance advice or recommend, but is that something people should look at year to year or every few years?
It probably wouldn't hurt.
Helps to have a good agent.
Getting a good insurance broker or insurance agent who understands that and is willing to look at with you on a periodic basis is probably advisable.
I got you. Now, and again, I don't want to get up too far off topic. Appraisers they're what's the right word? They've got a lot of restrictions. I don't think restrictions are the right word. They can't just make numbers up to appease people.
Oh gosh, no.
What is guideline's not the right word. I don't know.
They
See where I'm getting at here?
Yeah, they have a lot of rules.
Strict.
Very
Is
strict.
that the right word?
Yeah, they have strict rules and guidelines they definitely have to follow that are spelled out.
Right.
And you have to remember they're working for the bank. They're
Right.
protecting the bank's investment.
Right. Right.
So they're going to do what they can do to make sure they find the value in that home. And if they can't, they're not going to put their name on it because it's going to come back to them. And when the market crashed back in 2008, Dodd-Frank Act was put in place, 1,000 pages plus of new rules for loaning money and lenders. So now if the appraiser says it's worth X and they come to find out they have to foreclose on that house and they realize that the value wasn't worth that, they're going to come back to that appraiser and he's going to be held accountable.
There's liability.
He or she's going to be held accountable.
Well,
that.
there was a lot of fraud with that 15 years ago, wasn't there?
Oh, huge.
I mean, that was a racket.
You could just put a number on it; it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Not the case anymore.
Oh, rightfully so. Rightfully so. A lot of people don't understand that though. When they're buying or selling a house, the appraiser's coming out. They have no idea what that appraiser is or can or cannot do.
Right.
They just don't know.
Yeah, and I won't say that appraisers were intentional or devious or anything, but
there were some.
Some
have gone to prison over that.
Absolutely. There were some that were complicit in it.
Yeah.
But I would say the majority of the folks were trying to do the right thing.
Well, it's just like real estate agents, Most of them are good, but in your case, you're great. Now some are really horrible. So, yeah, I get it.
Exactly.
I get it.
Hey, those guys make me look really good.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
They say the same thing about podcast hosts. So, life changes, man. Life changes. How does that affect the real estate world, or maybe? I guess life changes. People have to sell one home, buy another, things like that.
Yeah, there's, as we go through life, we end up, we get out of school, we get a job, we buy a house, have a family.
Right.
You may be having children. Children grow up, they get out of high school, they get out of college, and now all of a sudden you've got this extra space. Maybe you have an in-law.
Oh, yeah.
Or parent that needs to move in.
Been down that road. Yeah, been down that road.
Yeah, we've seen that.
We've seen that.
And so, it's all these major life events that as you go through life, it could be a trigger for, hey, is it time to sell, time to renovate, time to purchase something new and different? Let's face it, as people get older, I've seen with my older clients that, they have these 2-story houses and they're just echoing in there because it's just 2 people in this lot of space. They're going, hey, my knees can't take going up and down the stairs anymore. I just don't want to do that. So they want to move to one level living.
I got you.
So there's a number of these things that I always try to watch out for as I'm talking with my clients. And what are they saying? And what's important? What's going on in their life? And what are those life events that they're faced with that may be something for us to be thinking about for them? Is it time for a change, or is it simply time to renovate a place?
I got you. Isn't it amazing? Listening is one of the most important gifts we've been given if we're willing to listen. Ain't that crazy?
It is.
It's the simple things, folks.
And I'm still learning that.
Oh, don't worry. I am too. Before we get out of here, I gotta ask you about, and if I'm out kicking the coverage here, just tell me. Radon gas. Do you deal with that? You're an agent.
Yes.
Randy, I remember the big radon scares of the 80s when I was a little kid. Of course, we're at the foothills of Stone Mountain, right?
Yep.
Granite. There's granite all through northeast Georgia. I know radon gas is real. Is it a concern? Are you bumping up against that when you're dealing with buying and selling homes?
Yes. First thing I'll say is not only am I running into it, but I also highly recommend.
Do you? No, I did not know that.
And I will tell you a story on that. I'll be brief on it.
No. Take your time.
But the radon gas is a real thing. It does happen. I encourage anybody that is looking to buy or sell, get a radon test. Okay. Even if you've been in your home for a long time and you're just curious, hey, reach out to me. I'll get you a free radon kit just so you can test it.
Is it that easy?
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, it's a little canister. It has some carbon in it. You put it out on the shelf and let it sit for a period of time, put the cap on it, you pay a little fee, and it goes off to a lab. They test it, and they'll send you back the results. Good. So, but the story I've got for you on this.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law, brother were coming back. They're purchasing a house. Did tests on it. Radon level came back super high. And this was a situation where we're dealing with basically a for sale by owner.
Okay.
So came back to the owner, who was an executor of an estate for her parents. Mm-hmm. The parents built the house, lived there. They're pretty much really long term. And so I brought the radon test results back to them and I said, we'd like you to remediate and install a system. He said, we're not going to do that. And I said, do you understand what radon is? And as I explained it to them, shared with them what it was, she got real quiet.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, I'm sorry. I said, is there something, I said, that's bothering you? And, would you like to talk about it? She said, yes. Said both of my parents died of lung cancer.
Yep.
And neither one of them were smokers.
They weren't smokers.
She immediately correlated the radon in the house to the death, and the reality set in with her that it's possible.
A good chance.
A good chance that might have been what took her parents' life.
Wow.
So
no wonder you take it so seriously.
I do, and it's one of those where I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
And you could easily have a lot of people just say, hey, it's not a big deal. It's not going to affect me. Maybe not. But you know what? At least you know.
I mean, what you mentioned a small fee. Hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars?
So to get a radon test done just on a standalone basis probably is in a couple $100 range.
$200.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, we're talking probably less than $300.
Do it every few years?
The recommendation is to do it on a periodic basis. It's every few years probably is probably fine.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And the other thing about radon, too, a lot of people say, oh, my next-door neighbor, they had it tested, and there's no problem, so I'm not going to test mine.
That means nothing.
It means absolutely nothing.
Right.
It's completely random.
Because it is the decaying of granite, is it not?
It is. It's an off-gassing, and it occurs naturally in the environment.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's a problem in a house is because it stays closed up, and it kind of captures that gas.
We build a box over it.
We build a box over it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It comes up through the foundation.
Yep. And it doesn't matter whether you have a basement or a crawl space or no basement at all.
Or a slab, right?
Or a slab. Because people say, oh, well, I don't have a basement. It doesn't matter. I hear agents say that all the time.
Do you really?
And it makes me cringe because they don't know what they're talking about.
How about that? As long as there's a floor over it,
then
it's going to trap anything.
It can come through it.
Yeah. It traps, it builds up, and then boom, it's gonna find, like path of least resistance. It's gonna find a way.
It'll find air gaps and get through.
How about that?
Yep.
Well, there you go, folks. Randy Winfield takes radon testing very seriously, and rightfully so. Man, I thought I knew everything about you. I guess not.
There's a lot more. Stay tuned.
We'll have to have you back in, Randy. What did we miss? What else do the folks need to know?
Just about our business in general, we take it very serious. We want to do the best, absolute best for our clients. The key for us is not just jamming them into a house just so we can close a deal. The key for us is taking the time to make sure that we've got the right property for them.
Gotcha.
And then on the flip side, if they're selling, we want to advise them. We want to give them the best advice we can give them and let them know what potential pitfalls we see that might come along during that process and represent them to the absolute best of our ability and negotiate for every dollar that we can. I literally have gone to the closing table and found a $10 error on a closing settlement statement and stopped the closing and made the attorney correct.
I don't blame you. I would too.
It's their $10.
Darn right it is. Yeah. Now,
No.
you've got a few agents working with you.
We have several agents working with us, and experience. They know what they're doing, and
Nice.
I'm honored to have them.
Awesome. We should have had them in here telling Randy stories. I'm just saying.
Oh, that might be a different show.
That might be we may not do that one here. Randy, thank you so much for coming in. You're a cool dude. I mean, you're just cool. That's just all there is to it.
Thank you, my friend. I'm so glad to be here. I'm honored to be on the show, and thank you for the opportunity.
Anytime. You know you are always welcome. And, heck, just show up, man. Oh, there's my music. We got to get out of here, folks. Thank you so much for listening, Northeast Georgia Business Radio X. Give Mr. Winfield a call or go to his website, WinfieldRealtyGroup.com, WinfieldRealtyGroup.com. I'm Tom Sheldon. Talk to you soon.